Hi, this is Mrs. Trefsinski, and I am going to talk to you about Target 2, which is relationships and triangles. So in Target 1, we discussed classifying different kinds of triangles by their sides and by their angles. So if we look at this first problem, just to kind of review what we did in Target 1, these two tick marks here show me that this is an isosceles triangle. So if this side is 15, this side C is also 15. We talked about how the base angles of an isosceles triangle are congruent. Remember, the base angles are the angles across from those congruent sides. So if this angle is 30, angle A is also 30 degrees. And then we know that the three angles of a triangle add up to 180 degrees, which makes angle B, this vertex angle, be 120 degrees for all three angles to add up to 180. So if I go and classify this triangle, this is actually an obtuse isosceles triangle. Okay, obtuse refers to that one obtuse angle, and isosceles refers to the fact that we have two congruent sides. If I look at the yellow triangle, I can tell that it's a right triangle. I also know that it's going to be scalene already because a hypotenuse is always the longest side of a right triangle. If I do Pythagorean theorem, which will be 4 squared plus 3 squared equals c squared, I'm going to get that this hypotenuse is 5. I could have also used the fact that this is a Pythagorean triple. It's a 3, 4, 5. That would also have gotten me that the hypotenuse is 5. In the green triangle, I can see tick marks showing that the three sides are congruent. So this is an equilateral triangle. Equilateral means all three sides are congruent, so they're all going to be 8. And then if all three sides are congruent, we talked about how all three angles are congruent, so it's also equiangular. So angle D will be equal to angle E will be equal to angle F, and all those will be 60 degrees. So we could call this an equilateral equiangular triangle. So in Target 2, we are going to use triangle relationships. There are two of them, the triangle angle sum and the exterior angle theorem to solve problems. Your homework will be a Target 2 math Excel. So in this first problem, it's giving me all three angles of the triangle, and it's giving them to me in algebraic expressions. So I'm just going to go ahead and label my diagram. And I'm going to use the fact that the three angles of a triangle add up to 180. So this is called interior angle sum theorem. So if I add up all three angles, let's see here, so that's going to give me 22x plus 4 equals 180. If I subtract 4 from both sides, that's going to give me 22x equals 176. And then if I pull up my calculator, and 76 divided by 22 gives me that x is 8. So if I go back in and I substitute in x is 8, 9 times 8 minus 2 makes this angle, let's see, 9 times 8 is 72, that'll make this one 70. 3 times 8 is 24, plus 16 will make this angle 30. And this one will be 70. So since these two angles are congruent, that'll make these two sides congruent. I did work wrong. Nope, that's right. 140, no, I didn't. Let's see here what I do wrong. 9 times 8 is 72, that's 70. 3 times 8 is 24. Oh, this should be 40. The reason I knew I did something wrong is because those three angles weren't adding back up to 180 like they should. 10 times 8, yep, so now I'm good. So that's 180 now it adds up to. Okay, so now I know I have my work correct. So since these two base angles are 70, these two sides are congruent. So this is going to be an acute isosceles triangle because it has two congruent sides and three angles that are all acute. So again, this is triangle angle sum theorem, which a lot of you guys already know about. It just means that the three angles of the triangle add up to 180. So now we're going to look at exterior angle theorem, which is probably new. So in this diagram, I have interior angles and exterior angles. Interior angles just mean angles that are inside. So X, A, and B would be interior angles. Exterior angles just means outside. That's Y. So Y would be my exterior angle. So if I think about the relationships that I know in this diagram, I know that these two angles form a linear pair, so they have to add up to 180. And I also know that these three interior angles add up to 180. And that's using the theorem we just talked about, the interior angle theorem. So just some math here. I could set these two expressions equal to each other because they both equal 180. And then I could subtract x from both sides, and that would leave me with the relationship that y equals a plus b. So the theorem that you guys need to know is that the exterior angle is equal to the sum of the two remote interior angles. Okay, so what I mean by that, my exterior angle is y. Okay, that's the exterior angle. The two remote interiors are A and B. Okay, so when I say remote, I just mean the ones that are furthest away from this exterior angle. Okay, so exterior angle theorem just means that the exterior angle is equal to the sum of the two remote interior angles. So if I do a couple example problems, if I look at this one here, I could do this one in a couple different ways. I could find y by using that theorem we just learned, which is if I add up the two remote interior angles of 55 and 32, that gives me 87 degrees, and that would be y. I could now find x by doing 180 minus that angle because x and y are a linear pair. So let's see, that should give me 93 degrees. Let me just double check my math. 180 minus 87. Yep. Okay. Or I could have found x by doing the three angles add up to 180 and solving for x. So I could do that one either way. But now when I look at this example problem, this green one is talking about angle 1. It's not saying that that angle is 1 degrees. Here I could only use the exterior angle theorem. So this exterior angle is equal to the sum of the two remote interior angles. Okay, so now if I start solving that, I'm going to have 60 plus 10x is equal to 15x plus 40. And that's going to be 5x is equal to 20, which makes x equal to 4. As always, I'm going to plug that back into my diagram and make sure everything works. So this angle comes out to be 100. This angle comes out to be 28. This angle comes out to be 72. So if I add that 28-degree angle and the 72-degree angle, I do get 100 degrees back. which makes that exterior angle theorem work, right? The sum of the two remote interior angles is equal to the exterior angle. Okay, and that's all we've got for target 2. So when we get our daily summaries, I would write down the interior angle theorem and the exterior angle theorem. Thanks, guys.